Hi, hello. I hope everyone is doing well, and I'm back again with another video. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about um, how people view money. So, the mentality of people when it comes to money. So, normally, when you are not earning as much, when your salary is not a lot, most people they would be more careful with how they're spending the money. Obviously, they'll make sure that their bills are paid for, rent's paid for, and everything that is needed. So they'll focus more on their needs. And then if there's anything left, then they will probably end up spending on some sort of luxury. But but then the more money someone earns, the more money that comes in. Not everyone does this, but the more money that comes in, people tend to end up increases their spending as well. Say so when one had less money, little to no money really, the spending, how much they will be spending will not be as much, because they can't afford it. Because you can't spend more than what you actually have coming in. It won't work. It makes no sense unless you're going into debt and stuff like that. But if what you're earning, that's all you can spend on your bills and food, just the basic needs, then you can't spend more than that if you don't want to go into debt. But usually people tend to find ways to make more money, like get qualifications and get better jobs and stuff like that. But people tend to do that. So you think you need to better yourself. So yeah, you get the qualifications, you get better jobs, and then once you're in those jobs, you try to get even better jobs, so to increase your salaries. And that's great. But how is that affecting how you're spending your money, your spending amount? So what's changing here is your income is increasing, which is great. But the thing is, has your spending increased as well, or has your spending stayed the same or reduced? Because you're still gonna have the same needs that you had when you had little money. You had these needs and you covered them on a little amount of money that you was making. You made sure obviously all the bills were paid, food was on the table, roof over the head, and so on. And so you had a specific amount of money that you would spend every month on those basic needs. So now that you're earning more, and by the way, congratulations anyone who's doing that. Now that you're earning more, which is great, so this extra money coming in, are you still spending the same? So the amount of money you spend every month, has that increased compared to when you had little money? Now that you're earning more, have you increased your spending? Because if you had a specific number in mind that you would spend every month to make sure you cover all the basic needs when you had little money, has that number increased now that you have more money coming in? Now question is, should that number increase? Should you spend more? The more you earn, the more you should spend. Is that right? Or you should just spend the same no matter how much more money you make? I mean, the common sense says you should spend still the same amount of money. The more, even though you're making more money, still spend the same. Don't, if you lived in a small house and it accommodated everyone in your household, and that's how much rent you're paying or mortgage you're paying every month, now that you're earning money and you can afford a bigger house, does that mean you should then move into a bigger house and spend more money? So your house rent should increase because now you're making more money, you can afford it. Should that be the case? Or you used to cook all your meals from scratch, and now you're still cooking your meals, but on top of that, does that mean you should then be going out and eating in restaurants left and right? which means your food bills, the amount you spend on food every month will definitely increase. Or um, should you then start buying expensive clothes, expensive shoes, expensive holidays, and so on? I mean, the thing is that just depends on each person. um, there's nothing wrong doing that, because obviously now you can afford it. Why not enjoy it? It's your money, you're working hard for, right? So why not enjoy it? Yes, you should. I think you should do that, and for a while, but not forever, because if you can't keep doing that, because then you're just never gonna be able to save. If you want to save, especially if you don't want to save, by all means spend all your money as soon as it comes in every month. Spend every penny of it, every single one, every single coin, and have zero left until by the end of the month, when you get paid again. You could do that and live a life of luxury every single day, and that's amazing. That's your money, that's your choice. So it's your choice. But if you want to save, best thing to do is to keep your spending the same. Do not increase your spending as you increase your income. Because if you was okay, if you're doing just fine and you got used to spending a certain amount of money every month when you was on low income, if you managed that and you was okay and it didn't disturb your life in any way, you wasn't being stingy, you didn't feel like you was living a frugal life or a stingy lifestyle, and so why increase that? Why change that if you want to save, for example? So you see some people, like there's this example, two friends, one earns a lot, one has a job, so her income every month is a lot, and her friend, her income is not as much. So it's like having a poor friend and a rich friend, but they're friends. One is poor, one is rich, so the incomes are completely different. So the poor one, the rich one, her income is like quadruple her poor friend's income. And so the poor friend manages to still, she doesn't feel like her and her family live a frugal lifestyle at all. They don't feel like they're stingy, they don't feel like they have to penny pinch and be, they just don't feel that, because they still eat the same food like everyone else eats. They eat every day, they don't run out of food, they have roof over their head, the house is all right. No, it's not the most expensive house, and the stuff in the house are not the most expensive things, but they have a roof over their head, everything is functioning in the house, the roof is working, the doors are working, the walls are working, the house is in good condition. They have everything, that furniture and stuff, they have them all, and they're just really good at managing their money, their finances, and they are very disciplined in that area. And because everything, they can afford everything, really, the most basic thing, all the necessities, they can afford it, and they don't feel like no one is going to bed hungry, you know what I mean? Everyone has got clothes to wear, shoes to wear, transport if they need to go anywhere, and they still afford to go on holidays every month. They've, her and her partner and the kids, they have her and her partner, they have a way of making everything last, and they're just used to that. It's not living a frugal lifestyle or being extremely stingy, but they're just really good at managing their finances, and everything is covered. They're not in debt, and on top of that, on a little money, they manage to save some money every month, so they have savings. Whereas her rich friend, they have the same number of children, so the same household in terms of size, the same number of people living in the house, but her rich friend lives a really high and very expensive lifestyle. Every weekend they go on holiday, whereas her poor friend goes on holiday with a family once a year. So every weekend, the rich friend will pack up the kids on Friday when she finishes work. Her and her husband, they finish work. They've already booked a plane ticket, and as soon as they finish work, they're not going home. Well, they go home to just pick up the luggages, and off to the airport. Actually, yeah, off to the airport, and they always fly first class. Off to the airport, first class, and they go to a different country for a holiday for the weekend. And they'll normally book the next two, like Monday and Tuesday off, so they can come back on a Monday evening, and then they have a Tuesday off. They're going back to work on next day on Wednesday. So when they can book those days off, they'll go. But if they can't book those 2 days off because they still have to work 5 days a week, then they'll only go for a weekend, and they come back on the Sunday morning. But every weekend they go to different. They've been to so many countries. Can you imagine being able to afford a holiday every weekend, and then a big one for 2 weeks or 3 weeks sometimes, twice a year? So every 6 months they go on a big holiday where they can stay longer, and then that they do every 6 months, so twice a year. But then between that, every weekend they're going away, and they don't just go to the hotels they stay in are not cheap. They go to 5-star hotels and stuff like that. So obviously they're living the best lives, and everything is great. The house is big where they live. The house is massive. It's beautiful. They have staff, people come in to clean the house and everything, and that's great. But the thing is, they don't have any savings, and they really, really, really do want to start saving. But they enjoy, they love their lives, they love the way they live, they love the lifestyle, and they enjoy it so much. They just can't see themselves not living like that. For them, that would be like poverty. If they can't afford those things that they pay for, if they can't afford their lifestyle anymore, for them it's a nightmare. They just don't see how they can manage. They can't. So one day the two friends sat together with their partners, and they just somehow started talking about money, because normally they don't talk about money, even though there's a difference between one is rich, one is poor. They just don't involve money into their conversations. But one day they did, and it was brought up. Both of them brought it up together at the same time. It was funny, and so they started talking about it. And it turned out that the poor friend has a lot of money saved. She's been saving for years. Her and the partner, they're so good at that. She's got a lot of money saved in her savings, and she was just honest with her friend. And then the rich friend, they have nothing in their savings. Nothing. They're not saving any money, because when it comes, every time they get paid, it just goes. They have people to cook for them, but even though they have people come in and cook, they have personal chefs, they will eat out a lot as well. They just eat out to go to 5-star restaurants and enjoy their lives. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the money. They work hard for it. They have all the rights to spend it however they want, but because they wanted to save, they're desperate to save, and they start talking to their friends. They were amazed to find out that the poor friend has a lot into their savings, a lot of money saved. And they're thinking to themselves, why do they not have any money, any savings? Like, why can't they put money? Every time they put money into their savings account, they take it out again, because apparently they need it for this and that and that and that and that and that, and then it just never stays in there, so the money doesn't grow. But so they asked the poor friend, how can you do this? How can we save as well? And the poor friend laughed. She apologized first, but said, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to laugh. Please forgive me. I don't mean to come across rude, but I need to laugh first. And she said, but if you use the same methods that we use, then especially because you make a lot of money, you'll be able to save a lot more and a lot quicker. You'll be amazed how much money you can put away every month, and within a year you have so much money. But that means you're gonna have to make some sort of sacrifices. You can't keep going on holidays every weekend. You're gonna have to stop that, because all that money you're spending every weekend on first class plane tickets, 5-star hotels, and not just money that you spend in the hotels. The services in the 5-star hotels are very expensive, because honestly, in the 5-star hotel, they take advantage of all the services that are provided. They use them all, so obviously they're paying more. They're saying, first of all, that has to go. You can't keep going. If you truly want me to tell you how I do things, so you can save money, I'm just gonna be honest with you. You don't need. If you're already going on a holiday twice a year, you don't need to go on holidays every weekend. So that's the money that you could be putting away and save, right? And by the way, why do you need 2 holidays in 1 year? You can just go on a holiday once a year and then that's it. But that one, no, they have to go on holiday twice a year. So you say, that's fine, fair enough. And then they say, okay, so you know how to cook, because they both do know how to cook, the rich ones, the rich friends. But they just prefer to have chefs, because they say they're too busy, they're too tired. After work, they don't want to do anything. They don't want to lift a finger. They want to be treated like, you just want to relax. So they have staff to do everything, to do chores, cooking, even looking after the kids. They have nannies, staying nannies and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But so her poor friend is saying, if you truly want, do you want me to tell you how? And I'll be honest with you, staff needs to go. You need to cut down the number of staff you have. You have too many. And say, look, I don't have staff, but I'm fine. We both work Monday to Friday, because both friends do work Monday to Friday, and they actually work in the same company. Monday to Friday, same number of hours every week. Both have kids. The poor one doesn't have staff. She manages it all with a partner. And she's saying, why don't you do it like me? Try it. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised you can do it. If you do that, if you cook your own meals, if you look after your kids yourself, yes, you'll be tired. That I can't lie. You'll be, tired after work, going home and then doing everything. You will be tired, but you can do it. Most people do it. You can, honestly, if you're serious about saving money, you can do that as well. If I can do it, you can do it too. So you just need to do that. Start doing that. That means you can't have staff. Yeah? And you can't be eating out a lot. And all this money you're spending on staff, on going out to eat every time. Almost 4 times a week they eat out. So basically staff are being paid to cook only for 3 days a week. So she's saying, cut down the number of staff, the number of holidays that you do, and even when you go on holiday, you don't have you can still use the first class, but not every time. Sometimes you don't have to spend on first class. So and then just like extra things, like if it's just, the poor friend even said, you could downsize your house. You don't need to live in the house that you're living in, because it's so expensive. It's a mortgage they took, but it's a big house, because all the staff live in that house as well. It's not just the family, it's the staff. They're saying, well, if you're not going to have the staff, you don't need that big house. So you could reduce your mortgage by getting a house that fits only your family. That's enough for only your family, and obviously if for guests, there's room for guests, and then you'll be able to save a lot more money like that. And they did all the maths together and realized, wow, honestly, if they do that, if they follow the poor friend's advice and guidance, they'll be able to make a lot more than they thought they could. and they enjoyed that. They liked that. They liked the way that they could see themselves that they can actually save, because they thought they couldn't save. There's no way they could save. How could they save? Like, all the money they make is going into their lifestyle, which they love and enjoy. So there's no way to save. They thought the only way they could save was to earn more, work harder, earn more time into work, more hours, and just earn more, like get promotions and stuff like that. And they didn't want to do that because they thought they've already kind of done that, because they're getting paid a lot. So they didn't want to keep doing that. And so the friend said, yeah, that's the other way. If you don't want to keep going, because even the boyfriend said, the more, even if you earn more than you're already earning, you're just gonna increase you're more likely gonna increase your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is gonna only get more and more expensive. So there's no point in doing that. So you just need to learn to live on less, and you can do it. Most people do it. Most people live on little money, and they're managing. And you don't actually have to live on that little money. You can still live on a lot more money that a lot more people live on, and save a lot more, because your lifestyle at the moment, it is expensive, very expensive. You can't keep living on like this, because you're never going to be able to save anything. And if you're serious about saving, you're going to have to cut down on things. And most of the times you don't need these things. Later on you'll realize that you actually wasted money on that. You wasted money on that new car you bought, because now it needs a lot of fixing. It's got problems, and then you just end up getting rid of it. But you bought it a lot of money. Like, you paid so much money for it. It's not a cheap car. So why did you get it? You didn't need to get it. And it wasn't like the only car you have. It's like the fourth car you have. You know what I mean? A lot of things you're spending money on are just... And even this is the rich people, the rich friends saying a lot of money they spend, a lot of things they spend money on, they don't actually need. They really don't. So they don't think, they just think, oh yeah, I need that, or I want that, and they're going and getting it. And then after some time they realize that they don't want it anymore. They just don't want it. So either they sell it, or they just get rid of it, and then do the same thing all over again with something else. So it's just not working. But anyway, so they were happy to follow the rich friend was and her partner were very happy to follow the poor friend's advice. And they did it for a few months, and they realized the change. At first it was hard for them to change their lives, the lifestyle like that. But then they start when they saw that they could save a lot of money. When they saw in the first month, in the second month, in the third month, in the fourth month, they did it for 6 months, and they realized, wow, they're saving a lot of money, and very fast. So they thought, yes, it's hard to change a lifestyle that we love, but at the same time, they're not living it like a stingy, lifestyle. The new lifestyle is not that. It's not like stingy. They still have everything. So that gave them the courage to keep going, and to not go back to the old lifestyle where they would spend and overspend and overspend. Every penny they make, all of you go. So that encouraged them not to go back to that old lifestyle, and encouraged them to just stick to the new lifestyle, and it got easier, it got better, they got used to it, and now they feel like they're rich. Can you imagine? Before, they lived the rich lifestyle, but they felt poor. They felt like they were not rich. They felt that they were poor, and because every time they look into their bank accounts at the end of the month, there's zero in there. They're going into minus. But at the same time, they're living this luxurious lifestyle, so they felt poor, even though they lived a very expensive life. The lifestyle is so expensive. But now they're living an average okay life, where they have a lot saved, and so they feel really rich now, and they're thanking the poor friends for it, thanking it so much, because honestly, they feel like the poor friend saved their lives. She saved their financial lives, and they could not be any more grateful for her to have her in their lives. So that's the end of this story, and I'm grateful that you tuned in and listened, and so thank you very much for that. Please don't you're free to leave comments in the comment section, and please subscribe if you like this channel. Thank you. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye.